Okay, I don't know if this is genuinely a pure thought, whatever, but why is it always that the people that you want to be with, the people that you choose, and maybe this is not for everybody, but in my experience, like it's like they're not the ones. Like there's something off, there's something incompatible about the way you guys communicate, or your interests, or your likes and dislikes, or whatever. But the love, quote unquote, what you think is love, is the thing that keeps you, is the thing that brings you, is the thing that holds you together. But it's like, in your core, you know it's not right. Like, you know that maybe they're not your person, or that maybe someone else could be better equipped for you. But it's like, why do we do that? Why do we say, this is the person that I choose, so it has to be them? And it's like, okay, you can have an experience. You can have an experience with somebody, and maybe you can choose to love somebody. And I think that love does grow like that. And I think you can fall in love like that. And I think you can foster a beautiful friendship, a beautiful marriage, a beautiful partnership like that. I think by conscious choice and deliberate action and intention, I think a beautiful love can blossom. But I think we all know, and maybe we don't, but I think we all know when it's like someone just feels right for you, but for whatever reason they're not right for you. Like, you don't choose them, or it wasn't something. And it's like, why is that? Like, why did God do that? And God is really wild. God is really crazy and has a sense of humor. And at the core, I think it is for all of our character development. Because if we were with the person who perfectly complimented us and, you know, was right for us, and if we were with our soulmate, and shout out to people who have been blessed, immensely blessed to just have this experience right off the bat. And I think when you are with your soulmate or twin flame, or maybe not twin flame, but like when you are with a person who agrees with your soul, a person who is very compatible with you, I think that there's a lot of love, and I think that there's a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity there. But I think equally, the thing that most people get into is experiencing either your opposite, like your exact opposite, like someone who you never thought you would date, never thought you would end up with. You don't have much in common. You don't like the same things. You don't have the same interests. You're like compatible in certain ways, but you wouldn't pick this for your person, your life partner, your mate. But somehow it's like, that's the person. And I think that happens because honestly, I feel like that's where you can kind of get the most growth and the most development and the most advancement of your soul, of your purpose, of yourself, of your spirit. And I think that's not by accident. I think God strategically places people in the right place at the right time to meet each other. It's there's too many people in this world, and too many things happen by chance that it's not by chance. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think there's any such thing. And I think that everyone you meet, you're meant to meet for a reason, for a purpose. Maybe it's not forever, but for a reason, for a purpose. And I think when you meet them is exactly when you're supposed to meet them, for whatever reason that you might not be able to see. There could be a higher purpose, there could be a higher order to things. I think there's always a higher order to things. But I was just having that thought, like, it's so crazy how, you know, I think we all have this list of the traits and attributes and my dream person and my soulmate and my partner, and, you know, and I think if we're lucky, I think you do get a lot of those things on your list. And I think if you're intentional and if you keep going after what you want and you don't let up and you don't stop until you get there, making a few compromises and adjustments along the way, because nobody's perfect. And I think we don't always realize how a situation or how a relationship is going to unfold until we're in it for a while. A lot of relationships, you don't really even get down to it. You don't even really get down to knowing who people actually are until months and years in, even. I would argue to say years in. I think the first year of a friendship is still kind of cute. It's still kind of like, oh, we vibe. This is great. You shared some memories. You had some laughs. Maybe you had a few fights. Maybe you had some disagreements. You're really getting to see that person and know that person and realize that you like spending time with them. But I think when you get into like 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, maybe 5, let's say 5, that's when you're in it. Knowing a person, whether it's romantically, platonically, a best friend thing, however kind of relationship, I think when you get into those years, baby, when you get into those years, you really, really, really start. That's when it becomes an exchange. That's when it becomes an energy exchange. That's when it becomes a lesson. That's when it becomes a teacher. I think every relationship that we have is a teacher for us, whether we see the lesson, whether we are the lesson, whether we get the point of it. I think every relationship is a teacher. It teaches us something about life. It teaches us something about ourselves. It teaches us something about whatever you need to learn about at that time that you met that person. And I think it's very valuable. And I think if you use it properly, instead of abusing it, or instead of missing the point, if you get the point, then I think it's a beautiful thing. But I think when you really get into it, these 3, 4, 5 years in, that's when you really start to know, like, okay, God sent me this person for this. This is what I need to work on. And I'm learning that through this person. This is the part of myself that I have yet to accept. And that's being reflected to me through this person. This is, stuff like that. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to make it that far. Because I think a lot of people can, I don't want to say give up, but I think now in this day and age, especially with people feeling like they're so disposable. I don't think people are actually disposable, but I feel like people treat them like they're disposable because it's like, oh, I'm on a new vibration. I'm on a new level. I'm just going to manifest a new group of friends. I'm just going to manifest a new partner. I'm just going to manifest a new life that matches my energy, that matches, it's all of that. Like, I don't need this. There's more out there for me. And yes, that is true. Well, that is true. But what I have come to learn in my 27 years of living is that if you don't learn that lesson, whatever lesson the universe, God, Yeshua, Allah, however you refer to the higher power, your higher self, the divine consciousness, if you don't learn whatever lesson you're supposed to learn through that individual, because they sent them. God sent that person to you. God sent you to that person. He sent you to that coffee shop on that one random day. He sent you to that park on that one random day. She asked you to apply for that job on that one random day. It's like there are no coincidences. And so it's like, if you don't learn that lesson, whatever lesson you're supposed to learn by coming into contact with that person and fostering and forging and cultivating a relationship with them, you're going to keep getting the same lesson until it's learned. I will say that again. You're going to keep getting the same lesson until it's learned, and you cannot advance until you grasp it. So I think, yeah, you can treat people like they're disposable, even mates, even like partners. I've been watching a lot of British TV shows, but even partners, like romantic partners and stuff. It's like, oh, well, this didn't work out because da 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 da. And it's like, okay, well, and I think when you work on it, when you seriously take stock and when you seriously reflect and you work on the issues that maybe were in your marriage or your relationship or why things didn't work out, and you heal that and you fix that, then it's okay, cool. You have the opportunity to advance to the next level. Ding, ding, ding. You made it to level 15. Now you're out of level 14. Praise God. But I think as long as you're in level 14 and you keep ending these relationships thinking that, oh, this didn't work out because X, this didn't work out because Y, this didn't work out because Z. And it's like, okay, that could be true. But if you're not ever looking at the meaning behind that, if you're not ever looking at the meaning behind why it didn't work out, because it has to do with you. Sorry to break it to you. If no one ever told you, everything is about you. Shout out to the narcissist. This is your moment to shine. Don't take it to heart. But everything is really about you, in the best way possible, in the most healthy, productive way possible. So if something didn't work out because this person was a narcissist, or this person was didn't give you what you needed, or they were too selfish, or they were too clingy, or they were too whatever, it's like, okay, yes, let that be the reason, and that relationship, whatever. But then look at that. Okay, it's like, look at that, relate that. Okay, this person was too clingy. Why were they too clingy? What behaviors and attributes and characteristics was I displaying? Refer it back to you. Was I displaying that either allowed that behavior to happen / continue, or what made them think that was okay to be so clingy to me? It's not always this person, this person, this person. Like, when you point one finger, 3 fingers point back at you. It's like, look at yourself. Look at yourself. And I think it's not until both people, both parties in any kind of relationship are looking at themselves that you really understand, oh, this is why you're in my life. This is why this is why I am. This is why he sent you. This is why God sent you. So yeah, I was just having that thought that it's just really crazy how we have control, like we have free will, and we can choose, and we can pick, and we can discard, and we can swipe left, and we can swipe right, and we can, do all the things. But do we really have control? I think that's crazy. The illusion that we actually have that much control over who is for us and who is not for us is wild to me, because we really don't. If you live enough life, if you date enough people, if you make enough friends, it's like, instantly, especially now in this age of energy and people being aware of just feelings and moods and stuff like that. It's like, when you feel a vibe, and when you don't, when you feel annoyed and irritated, and you like, there's something about this person that you can't stand and you don't even know why. But sometimes that can be tricky, because sometimes the opposite energy of hate is love, right? So it's like, if you hate a person, or if you have disdain for them, or if you really, really, really can't stand them and you just don't know why, you might just be on the other side of that coin. Like, you might just love them, and you can't consciously come to that realization that you love this person, so it manifests itself in the form of hate. But that's a different conversation. But either way, a vibe. When you like someone, when you get along with them, when y'all are good, when you're vibing. So it's like, we really don't choose. I think we have the illusion that we have the free will to choose who we want in our life and to keep in our life. But at the end of the day, if you're being honest with yourself, if you're being authentic with yourself, with your journey, with your life, I think you can only fake it for so long. It's like, oh, we vibe, we don't. And yeah, sometimes you just really don't always get to choose. I think you never get to choose, actually. I think that God gives us the illusion of choice by placing this person in front of us that he knows that we'll like, for whatever reason, how they look, how they dress, their intellect, their skills, their hobbies, whatever. He's like, okay, like, they're gonna like this person, so let me just place them carefully here so they meet, and then they vibe, and then it's always a deeper meeting. It's always a deeper connection. So I was just having the thought, because I was watching this show, and it's like, these two characters, they're not together, but that they're the right couple for each other. But the people, they're not together, but the people who they are with is like their chosen people. And it's like, it works on the surface, it works, but that they're supposed to be together because something just clicks, something is just right, it just works. But for whatever reason, it's like, either we don't allow ourselves to go for the not obvious choice / obvious choice because of whatever, because we think like, it's just not what I want. But low-key, it's like almost what you need. And I think that's the difference between like choosing your friends and partners and like having them choose you. So Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like cruel, I think. A little bit. It's kind of cruel if you're not leaning into it, if you're not surrendering into it, because it's like I could say I want this partner who's da 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 da, and they eat right, and they go to the gym, and they da 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 da, and they, you know, are an entrepreneur, and they have a business, and they know how to cook, and they love to clean, and they love to compliment me and give me gifts, and they fill me up, and they pour into me, and they all of whatever you want. But you can find someone who's all of those things, but that might not be your person. That's the thing. It's like, it's not about checking boxes. It's about, is this who I am supposed to be with? And I think for whatever reason in this day and age, there's a lot of reasons, but in this day and age, I feel like we struggle to really decipher those things. We're like, okay, I want a person who has XYZ, and if they have XYZ, then once they clear the checklist, once they clear the pre-entry list, I'm gonna let them in and then evaluate, and we can get to know each other and da 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 da, whatever, blah blah blah. But just because they met the requirement, honey, just because they met the requirements doesn't mean they're the person for you. And I think that's what we fail to realize, because we think we think we know what we want, and we don't. That's just a fact. We think we know what we want, and we don't. Because if we knew what we really wanted, we would truly have it, and then we would no longer want it because we would already have it. And so because we're putting these stipulations and checklists and prerequisites for, this is the type of person that I want in my life, and like, yes, cool, make your list, manifest it, say your affirmations, picture it into your life, do your visualization exercises, all of the whole thing, do it. And it will work, and you will manifest that into your reality. But the thing is that really what you want? And I think that's a question that we have to ask ourselves, because it's like, do you want it? Why? Why do you want a person like that? Why do you want a job like that? Why do you want a career like that? Like, I think it's the why behind it. Yeah, so I think that's all I really had to say, but that thought was just perplexing me. Like, wow. It's like, even in this dating, like, because I guess I'm dating right now. I don't know if that's what you call it. Anyways, it's just interesting, because whether it's dating by meeting people in the gym or in the grocery store, or dating on an app, it's like, you really don't even know them for real. Like, you're evaluating if you want to go on the date based on surface level shit that you like. It matters, but everyone is like way beyond their surface level, what they present to the world. So it's like, that's just enough to like hook you, to get you to the date. And it's not until you really get to know them that it's like, oh, do I like your character? Do I like how you act? Do I like how you carry yourself? Do I like your mindset? Do I like the way you think? But that's not the things that people are putting on the dating apps. And maybe that's the problem. That's not what people are leading with. People are leading with the superficial and what they think people want, and what's going to make them swipe on them, and what's going to make them get your number, and what's going to make them whatever. And that's cool. Like big up yourself. Like, that's cool, because you got to have a little strategy, because if you look crazy and if you look lame, no one's going to be checking for you. That's a fact. Because we are humans, and we operate on pleasure principles, and we operate on aesthetics, and that's a fact. I can agree with that. But I think when you get down to it, why are people so single? Because you hooked them, but you didn't sell them on it. And I think the reason, to bring it back into close, you hooked them, but you didn't sell it on them, but you didn't sell them on it because that's not the person you're supposed to be with. And you're not going to know that that's the person that you're supposed to be with or not supposed to be with based on whatever superficial attributes that you're bringing to the table, which is why you really just have to kind of take a chance to get to know people. And I think love in general, platonic love, romantic love, I think it's taking a risk and taking a chance in general. Like, one, you have to drop all of your walls. Two, you have to drop, it's like a catch-22. You have to drop all of your expectations because you don't want to put too many restrictions and stipulations on it, but you have to leave your expectations there enough so that you don't attract the wrong type of people. Because I'm not trying to attract a narcissist in my life. Been there, done that, never again, never will I ever again, because that's just crazy and it's insane and I don't need that. So you have to have a certain level of boundary to know what you don't want, but it's also like you can't be too closed off because you don't know what you want. That's what's crazy. So yeah, all that to say, I don't think the people that we end up with we choose them. I think that they choose us, and I think that it's an interesting process. It's a hell of a process. So yeah, that's my unique moment of thought for today.